transmitiendo ahí.
We love sharing experiences. Our mission is preparing others to serve. Welcome to School of Mission Online. Your journey begins here.
Good afternoon, good night, or good morning. Why not? We are so happy to have you today in the beginning of School of Mission 2020 from here, from Universidad Adventista del Plata. My name is Paula da Pozo, and today Tatiana is with me. Hello, missionaries. We are so excited to know that you are part of this group of people that want to have training to do this mission that God left us. We have friends from all over the world that are connecting with us, and to all of you, we want to say welcome. We have also more than 50 countries represented from different parts of the world, around different types of Adventist universities that are with us today. Plus, we have more than 800 university students from different universities that are with us today. To begin this program, we want to ask for God's presence, and that is why we want Jair from Chile to talk to God with us. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for everything you have given us. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for being with us this week and having us together to be learning about mission. Thank you for the first class of School of Mission and for all of the people present here. Dear God, we ask for your... Please have your angels to be with us in every moment. Help us understand and help us put it in practice in our lives. Thank you, God, and we ask you to prepare the place in which we will do mission. Take care of us in this class, and we ask for it in your name. Amen. Thank you very much, Jair. God bless you and your missionary in Chile. Now, Paolo, we have very important announcements to make. That's right, something very important. If you're still not subscribed to our School of Mission, we want to ask you to do it in the QR code that will appear now on screen or in the link that is in the comments. If you did it already, listen to the next steps. It will take you to an email in your account that will give you the link to sign up to all of the steps that you need to do to participate from this program. And that's it. This program consists in 10 virtual classes, which will be every Friday at 5 p.m. Argentina time through this same channel. So go ahead, subscribe, active that notification button, and be with us so you won't miss anything that will be happening today here. Every class will be available in Campus Virtual with a weekly quiz. For that, you will have 2 tries in which you will count with 25 minutes each. Yes, so now you're asking, what are the requirements to be able to graduate and have the official certificate of this program? Yes, for this program, you need to have an average of 80% in all the quizzes and 70% in the tests. Yes, and if you have any questions, you can write to us to our forum in screen right now or write to us in the email. Very good. And this is very special because we have people invited. Yes, we have people invited from different types of universities that are also part of School of Mission. That's right. Today, Pastor Rizo, rector of this university, will be with us today.
Bueno, buenas tardes a todos. En el contexto de la Escuela de Misión,
in the context of School of Mission, the first edition of School of Mission Online, 10 programs that have been prepared for all of universities of the world from Universidad Adventista del Plata. This time, the very first time, we thought it was so important and transcendent to be able to speak with Dr. Heraldo Lopez, who is the rector of the University of Mozambique. And today, we ask for Dr. Heraldo, not only because he's a very good friend, but because the University of Mozambique, we have a great representation of School of Mission. Doctor, how are you?
Doutor Horácio, boa tarde, amigos da Escola de Missões. Saudações desde Moçambique, aqui no Oceano Índico.
Oh, qué grande. Escuchamos
Oh,
el
you're
otro día
so
las
big. We
promociones
were listening the other day to all the promotions that you were making with all the people from Teología.
realmente extraordinarios.
And it was an amazing fire that was really contagious from this side of the world.
Obrigado você, Horácio. Obrigado também ao UAP por proporcionar para nós essa oportunidade de formação e prática da missão.
Heraldo, decía
Heraldo,
un gran amigo, tuvimos la
we were
oportunidad
saying with a
de
great
compartir
friend
el año pasado
whom I shared a trip with,
denominacionales y fue
in
realmente
which
muy
we
enriquecedor conocernos, estar cerca.
went through different places and tried to share together. Heraldo has a great experience and people, a daughter and a future son-in-law who is studying in this university.
Mas uma coisa é certa, esperamos.
Me lo encontré al mozo hace
Yes, I saw him about a week ago in the cafeteria of our campus. And I said, hey, look that I am friends with your father-in-law. And he looked at me with seriousness.
Obrigado, Horácio.
¿Cuántos años tiene la
How
Universidad de
many
Mozambique,
years
Heraldo?
does the University of
Olha,
Mozambique
a
have?
Universidade de Moçambique é uma das universidades adventistas mais novas do mundo. Ela foi estabelecida no ano de 2011, autorizada pelo governo. Em 2013, começamos as atividades. Então, estamos agora no 7º ano de atividades.
¿Con qué carreras cuenta? y
What
qué
careers does it have, and how many students does it have?
Nós temos 3 cursos: contabilidade e auditoria, nutrição e teologia. Estamos planejando agora abrir enfermagem e queremos ter um curso online de educação, pedagogia. No início da pandemia, contávamos com 400 estudantes. Devido a essa circunstância, estamos agora com 288 estudantes matriculados.
Okay, Heraldo, me sorprende
Okay, Heraldo,
tremendamente
it's
saber
amazing
cuando me
to
contás
know
la cantidad de alumnos
how
que
many
tiene, que
students you
es una
guys
buena
have, which is a great amount of students,
la historia que
due
tiene la
to the history that the university has, and it's a new university. We have 127 subscribers from the University of Mozambique. Impressive.
Mas, Horácio, isso não foi por acaso. Quando eu estive na Argentina, desde o momento que minha filha, que estuda aí, começou a fazer medicina, eu participei do Instituto Missionário aí. E fui, inclusive, num retiro do Instituto Missionário aí. Quando eu vim para cá, eu trouxe a ideia, copiamos, e nós também temos um Instituto Missionário aqui de Moçambique, que é filho e cópia do Instituto Missionário de vocês, obviamente nas nossas proporções, nos nossos limites. Mas o Instituto Missionário daqui funciona e nós temos como base exatamente a nossa mãe, que é a UAP e o Instituto Missionário da UAP. Por isso que o que aconteceu não foi por acaso. O Instituto Missionário daqui promoveu e nós estamos aí juntos com eles, promovendo para podermos ter essa adesão. Para você ter uma ideia, isso significa que são 44% dos nossos estudantes até agora, porque de hoje para amanhã vamos ter outra arrancada para o iwillgo.uap, e por isso que aconteceu essa coisa. Não é por acaso.
Qué bueno.
A UAP semeou e nós estamos agora a colher.
Cabe destacar que nosotros
Okay, it
estamos
is great to
grabando
mention
este programa
that
24
we
horas
are also
24 horas antes de que empiece, así que por
recording
eso
this
el doctor
program
dice que
24
posiblemente de
hours
aquí a
before
mañana,
it's
o sea,
beginning.
nosotros
That's
estamos
why
grabando
the
día
doctor is
jueves,
saying that
sería
possibly from
Quinta
today to
Feira,
tomorrow, we are
así que
recording
todavía
this
tenemos
on
24
the
horas por
day
delante para
Thursday. We
inscribir
still have
algunos
24 hours ahead to
Heraldo realmente
subscribe
menciona
more
de
students.
orgullo, de satisfacción y
He mentions about the
de felicidad.
satisfaction
Realmente
and
nosotros creemos
the
que
the
todo lo que
proudness
recibimos tenemos que
that
devolverlo.
all that we
Nuestra universidad
receive,
también
we
es
have
un
to give
poco el
back.
resultado de haber recibido la
And also, it is a little bit of the result of having this evangelistic migration that has been done here. And this is how the mission keeps on expanding around the world. What are the plans to short notice you have of mission?
Nós precisamos agora envolver mais estudantes. E olha, nossa oração era perguntar como que nós vamos conseguir isso. E veio o iwillgo.uap. Para nós agora, ontem, no nosso board daqui, no nosso comitê superior, nós votamos como sendo o programa oficial para os próximos 5 anos. Missão, prática e, por sua vez, disseminação. Então, portanto, agora, a UAN, eu sou o UAN, você é o UAN, nós somos o UAN, mas a UAN é iwillgo.uap. Esse é a nosso norte, essa é a nossa missão, esse é o nosso plano. Só vamos falar nisso agora. Estamos juntos. Então, portanto, é envolvimento dos estudantes.
Sería interesante que
It would be
después podamos pulir
interesting
juntos algún
to
compromiso de
also
intercambio. Nos
see
gustaría tener en
if
algún
we can do
momento
some
algún
type of
alumno
compromise
por aquí,
and
algunos
see
meses,
if we can have
participando algún voluntariado,
one
quizá
of
alguno
your
de la
students
UAP que
here
está acá en Mozambique.
go
Vamos a
over
trabajar
there,
juntos
or
esa
from the
idea que, sin
University
lugar a
of
dudas,
Mozambique, one of the
institucionalmente
students come
va
here
a
as
contar
an
con
exchange.
mucho apoyo. Yo quiero
You
saludar
always know
a
that
cada uno de los
you
estudiantes de
have all
Mozambique,
our
todo
support.
el
I want
cariño,
to say
todo el
hello
afecto.
to all of the students
Realmente me
from
tocó
the
participar
University of
estando en la Unión
Mozambique.
Argentina de lo que fue la génesis de la Universidad de
I
Mozambique,
was able
recibiendo a
to
gente del
participate
gobierno de
from the
Mozambique, al director de
Argentine
educación
conference
de la Unión de Mozambique, así
of
que
the
es
creation of the
realmente una
University of
alegría que hoy la
Mozambique,
universidad
and it's
esté en marcha.
in
Geraldo, como
amazing
pastor,
happiness
como
to
papá de
know
una alumna,
that
como
this
padre de
university is
400
marching.
y tantos de alumnos
Now,
allí, como
Heraldo,
rector,
as a
como
pastor,
doctor,
as a
¿cuál es el
director,
mensaje que
as a
tienes para la
doctor,
juventud?
as the
Hoy
father
tenemos
of one of the students
aproximadamente unos
of medicine in
2.500
Universidad
inscritos
Adventista del
en la
Plata,
escuela de
what is
misión.
your
Estamos
advice to
terminando
all
cerrar
of
este
these
número.
youth?
Están mirando más de 2.000 jóvenes.
There
¿Cuál es
are
tu mensaje
more
para cada
than
uno de ellos?
2,500 subscribers
Amigos,
and over
os
2,000
estudantes
people looking. What would
que,
be
por
your
sua
advice?
vez, são os mais diferenciados na universidade, são aqueles que participam do Instituto Missionário. Aqui em Moçambique, aqueles que participaram do Instituto Missionário, nós já temos 10 que estão em funções administrativas ou estão aí no trabalho da obra. São pastores, são líderes, são nutricionistas, são contabilistas. Os que participaram, eles, por sua vez, alcançam escalas mais altas e mais rápidas, devido ao fato de que foram melhor preparados para lidar com pessoas, para lidar com realidades e ter um coração voltado para a realidade e para a necessidade das pessoas. Meu querido amigo, se você quer ter um benefício na sua vida espiritual, se você quer ter um benefício na sua vida pessoal, na sua vida intelectual, na sua vida relacional, não se esqueça disso. Participe das atividades do Instituto Missionário, participe do iwillgo.uap, participe da Escola de Missões, participe dessas atividades. Você vai ver que você vai ser mais feliz, você vai ser mais eficiente, você vai ter mais sucesso e você vai ser uma pessoa mais bem-sucedida na sua vida. A iwillgo.uap veio para abençoar você, não somente na parte espiritual, mas em toda a sua vida. Meu conselho é simples e claro. Entra de cabeça nisso. Faça disso a sua experiência. Respire, inspire, transpire. Missão. iwillgo.uap. Estamos juntos nessa. Vai ser uma bênção e você vai ver o que é ser feliz.
Gracias, Geraldo. Estamos
Thank
juntos.
you, Geraldo,
Tengo ganas
very
de
much. We are
algún
together.
para
I
mí
really
también.
want to
Dios te
go.
bendiga
I will go
muchísimo,
for me
Geraldo.
too.
A tu
God
esposa
bless you
también,
very
que
much.
conocimos
God
el
bless
año
your
pasado
wife,
en
whom
el
we met
viaje, un cariño
last
especial
year
para ella, de parte de
in
mi
the
esposa
trip.
también. Y bueno, de toda nuestra
Special
comunidad,
greetings
todo el
from my
afecto
wife
para Mozambique.
and
Nos vemos en la
for
Escuela de
everybody
Misión.
in Mozambique.
Muchísimas gracias,
Thank you
Pastor
very
Heraldo,
much,
por
Pastor
compartir
Heraldo,
con
for
nosotros
sharing
el
with us
trabajo misionero
the
que
work,
están
the
realizando
missionary
allí
work
con
that is
nuestros
being
amigos
done
de la
with our
Universidad de
friends from the
Mozambique.
University
Dios
of
les
Mozambique.
continúe
God
bendiciendo a
continue
cada uno de
blessing each
ustedes.
and one of you.
Y además,
And
cada
also,
viernes vamos
every
a estar
Friday,
conociendo
we will
el
be
trabajo que
meeting the
realizan
work
en
from
diferentes
that is
lugares
being done
los
in
misioneros que
different parts
tenemos
of the world, from
alrededor de
missionaries
todo
that we
el
have
mundo.
in
Como por
all
ejemplo,
over the
el
world.
día de
For
hoy,
example,
vamos a
today
conocer a
we are going
Ilenia
to meet
y Hannah, que están
Enya and
sirviendo,
Hania,
adivinan
whom are
dónde,
serving,
en
guess where?
Palau.
In
Vamos a ver el
Palau.
video.
Let's see the video.
Ali.
Ali.
That's how you say hello in Palauan. We are missionaries here in Palau. My name is Hannah Bungu.
Y mi nombre es Ilenia Nieves.
What I do in Palau is I am the chaplain for the SDA Elementary and SDA High School. I also am teaching Bible for the upper grades in high school. And this school year, because of everything going on with COVID and not having a lot of teachers, I'll be taking on teaching physical science and some English classes.
Yo voy a estar trabajando durante este año como la consejera para la escuela, para la escuela superior, y también voy a estar enseñando la clase de Biblia 1 y Biblia 2, y voy a estar dando el curso de geografía también.
So the impact that Palau has had in my life has been so great and so amazing. This actually is going to be my 4th year as a missionary here in Palau. So I came here right as soon as I finished college, and I was supposed to only be here for 1 year. And I ended up staying more and more and more, and now that I'm going into my 4th year, looks like I'm gonna be here for a long time. The kids here are just so amazing, and they have a way of just changing your life in ways that you had no idea would even happen. I believe that I've become a better person for serving the Lord here in Palau, because I've grown in so many ways and I've been challenged in so many ways, and because of that I've been able to just refine and become more of who God wants me to be. Serving God on the mission field is not easy, but after being here I realized that it's something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And so Palau has had a huge impact in my life because it has shown me how much I love mission work. And not only do I feel like I'm doing something great by being here, I'm being blessed because the people here, the students, the community, and everyone here, they're just so amazing, and they've had a huge impact in my life. So it's a place that it definitely has my heart, and I know that God is using me for something big here and using them to impact me as well. Any advice that I would give to future missionaries is just don't feel like you have to have everything figured out all the time, and don't feel like you have to be super qualified to be on the mission field, because I didn't even have a degree in teaching before I came out here to be a missionary, and now I've been teaching for 4 years and it's been the best experience of my life. So be open and be willing to do new things, and realize that God will equip you. If He wants to use you, He will give you what you need.
Palau para mí ha sido una experiencia maravillosa. Yo llegué de Puerto Rico el año pasado y se supone que solo me quedara un año, se supone que me fuera en junio, pero con todo lo que ha sucedido ahora con el COVID y toda la incertidumbre que hay a nivel mundial, Dios me ha enseñado, ¿verdad?, que es aquí donde me quiere otro año. Así que voy a estar trabajando por el próximo año aquí también. Cuando yo solicité para trabajar aquí en Palau, yo no sabía por qué Dios quería que yo trabajara aquí y no entendía muy bien cuál era el propósito. Y durante el año fui descubriendo, mediante muchas cosas fui descubriendo por qué Dios me quería aquí. Y una de las razones es porque Dios sabía que toda la situación que está ocurriendo ahora mismo iba a pasar. Así que soy una de las pocas misioneras que está trabajando aquí debido a toda la situación que hay, y estamos sirviendo ¿verdad?, pues para hacer el trabajo de Dios y dando lo mejor de todo. Mi consejo, ¿verdad?, a aquel que quisiera ser misionero, es que el primer paso es sentirlo en tu corazón y decírselo a Dios. Decirle: Dios, yo quiero servir, envíame. Y en su tiempo, en el tiempo que Él decida, Él te va a enviar y Él te va a decir dónde debes estar y por qué debes estar ahí. El servicio misionero te cambia, no solo porque te cambia tu manera de ver la vida, sino porque más allá de tú trabajando con otros, Dios está directamente trabajando contigo. Y si tú tienes el deseo, créeme que Dios te va a moldear hasta crear lo que quiere de ti, crear la obra perfecta que quiere de ti. Así que ese es mi consejo para ti.
Thank you for watching and listening, and may God bless you.
the conviction, the belief that the missionaries have to say with so much certainty that God will guide you is what inspires us and gives us the meaning and the feeling, the excitement to celebrate the first session of 10 that we will have from the Universidad Adventista del Plata for about 2,500 people from over 50 countries of the world and in different languages. Thank you so much for being with us. It's so special for you to be with us, even with COVID, but it has a great future. Now we want to present our special
teológicos allí en España, luego se trasladó para continuar sus estudios en Francia, más tarde
Jonathan Contero. He has a great history in which he started studying in Spain and is now with us today. Today, he was the starter of the Church Zero with special characteristics. He is living in Spain and is also working on a worldwide mission as Associate Director of a specific department in the General Conference. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for us to have you here in our first class. Jonathan, welcome. Good afternoon for us. Good afternoon for you. Thank you for the invitation. It's amazing for me to be here. Yes, for me it's nighttime, but you know that in Spain, we go to bed very, very late. Yes, you know that we do that here too. We are all during the night. Yes, it's a pleasure for us to have you here in the presentation of this topic, and we want to leave it up to you. And thank you and your family, the church in Spain, and all the members of church, and send them great blessings to the projects for all of the projects that you and your church have. I'm sure you were talking about some of the characteristics of this church, and we're going to leave you with the time to tell us more about it. Thank you very much. Well, it's a pleasure for me to be able to greet everybody, students, and everybody who are subscribed to School of Mission. You know that our message for this time is I Will Go, which is based on mission. We represent the Center of Studies, Modern Studies, which in the end, the purpose is taking the message to everybody in the world. And we also work with other centers, which reach Muslims and people from different religions, in which we work in a different way, in a special way. So thank you very much for participating here with us. And I really hope I can provide something and humbly from all of my knowledge. Okay, now I want to share my presentation. There it is. Basically, there are many questions and doubts about this. I personally think that we should talk more about the lack of religion rather than paganism. Now, I want to tell you a story. A boy of about 6 years, like every Saturday in the morning, like all of the Adventist kids in the morning, he went to Sabbath school. And when he went to Sabbath school, he went out with his mom and told his mom, "Mom, you know what we saw today, this morning in Sabbath school?" And his mom said, "No, tell me. How was it? What did you learn in Sabbath school?" And he said, "Well, today I learned the story of Moses. Do you know it?" His mom smiling said, "Yes, I've heard it sometime." The boy said and started telling the story, and he got so excited telling the story. And when he got to the moment in which the Red Sea opened, the boy started telling how the Red Sea opened. Mom, when the Red Sea opened, you know what happened? Really? Who really opened it were very small soldiers that were building a bridge, and they sucked the water out of the whole spot. So it was basically like they built a tunnel. So when the Egyptians passed, there was a dragon that breathed fire over the tunnel. So the tunnel was destroyed. And that is how the Egyptians drowned. His mom was so surprised and said, "Son, what, this is the story that you were told in Sabbath school?" And his face changed, and he told his mom, "Mom, if I tell you the real story, you're not going to understand. You're not going to believe it." Now, this is very interesting because it demonstrates and it reflects the true identity of society. There are so many people that declare themselves as atheists that don't believe, and they don't understand how religion actually is. And they declare themselves as to not have a faith in God. Now, let me tell you how mission has to be done in order for Jesus to come back. Now, we're going to read Daniel 12:4, which says, "But you, Daniel, roll up and seal the words of the scroll until the time end. Many will go here and there to increase knowledge." Now, if you think about it, Jesus says in Luke 18:7-8, "And will not God bring about justice for his chosen one who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he will rise. He will see that they will get justice, and quickly. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?" Now, all of you that are on the campus of Universidad Adventista del Plata, you have the privilege of being in a space in which you can breathe the mission. But the true mission is going to the last part of the earth, to every single corner in which you have to reach all of the people that don't believe in God. Now, we have a problem in Europe, we have a problem in the US, is that people don't believe. And this problem is growing more and more. And there are every day more and more people that don't have a religion, that don't believe anything, that don't have faith in God. And this is a sign and that tells us that we have to go to all of these people and do our job as volunteers in service of the Lord. Now, let me give you some important concepts. It's important to be able to understand where we are and what we want to be able to accomplish it. So, we're going to talk about some specific definitions to be able to understand it. Okay, so secularism is basically not having religion. And basically, I want to give you a look about society that are totally indifferent to what religion is. And they don't want to know anything about religion. They are not interested about God, or they probably think that they don't need God. Now, you might say, who doesn't need God? We all need God. But all of these people have been able to manage to live their lives without thinking about needing God. Now, the second definition is Christianism. The affiliation, religious affiliation of Christians with a conviction and strong beliefs. And like of this, we have different types of example, like Islamism. But this is basically to put in practice faith. Now, the next term is Christendom, and we need to know how to differentiate from one and the other. Now, this is basically that when the society has a very close relation with religion and all of those positions that have a civil power, the laws that are given by this same term are based on different objectives from the same institution. Now, we can see this when the government is closely related to religion. For example, Islam. It's all over the government. And last, we can talk about, sorry, but the last concept we will see, even though we don't have so much time for it, we'll talk about secularism. And we'll talk about the characteristics and all the aspects that we can see that a society has when they reject Christianism. And this is what secularism is: the rejection from society of Christianism or religion. Now, we have different religions like Islam that are a clear example of this. Now, there are countries that there is a lot of secularism because they really don't want to have anything to do with religion. Now, let me talk specifically about Christian countries. Now, the first characteristic is when a Christian person rejects Christianism, but what he really wants to do is reject the Christian. So, basically, it talks about how the power of that the church has had throughout time gave in abuse. For example, the Catholic Church in its different places and events in which they would control completely what Christians were doing. So this goes against to what you and me believe as Christians, as Adventists, and it takes us back to the topic we were talking about, which is saying no to religion, saying no to Christianity, and basically removing from your head everything that has been proposed by the church and the government. Now, society sometimes doesn't know what the difference is between Jesus and Christianity. And because of that, that has made that religious people got to the point of rejecting God and rejecting Jesus. Now, let me put a video in which I've made it very short, so it's only 7 minutes, and it's of a famous YouTuber, Mexican YouTuber, whose name is Maje. That is her artistic name. And she gives a video of why she doesn't believe in God and what shocks her the most about Christianity. And you will see what elements of the Christianity are presented, and it's not based on Jesus. Okay, let me comment a little bit. How many times have you been in the shoes of your friends, your companion, your neighbor? How many times have you tried to know and understand why they don't believe in God based on what Christianity has done through times? Maybe that person doesn't believe at all. Or Christians nowadays, we have the responsibility to look over how we do everything, how we treat others, because it has a great impact in people. And a lot of these people have turned into secular because of the fault of the Christians, or at least in reaction to Christians, because they have not been able to find Jesus. It's been too complicated to find Jesus behind so many tricks that have of the Christianity that has abuse of power. Now, let me tell you, I've traveled all over the world, but the example I'm going to give you are the ones that I know, which are from different parts of Europe. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but this really looks like a disco. It looks like people are talking, they might be drinking, but look at the background. There are some arches. Look at the arches. This used to be a church. And look at the windows. The church used to be a church. It turned into a bar. It turned into a place to go dance because of the misuse of the church. Now look at this. This place used to also be a church not long ago, but now it's a skate park. Now we can see here how people are turning institutional religion and developing different Western beliefs about what religion is, and we can really see how this is all going down in all institutional religions. Christianity has come to its last point, and we know by prophecy that this was going to come in some moment. So the concept of I will go and the concept of mission has more power than ever, because now it is more necessary than ever. Now we're going to go with the second characteristic. We can say that the first one was that people confuse God with what Christians have done through history and the abuse of power they have done. Now, characteristic number 2 of secularism is that we assume that we are Christians, but we are not really taking God's attitude and his actions, but we have taken certain aspect of Christianity as a culture. Now, saints, parties, and national holidays that have been taken from different countries that have to do with religion, but that even non-religious people have to celebrate. And all of us who consider us Christian, we think that we consider each other Christians just to have a difference from all the other people. Now, the simple fact of considering us in a secular society as Christians is only a characteristic. Now, I believe that I'm Christian, but if I don't believe that God has anything to do with my life or even live a Christian life, then this is signs of the second characteristic. Now, religious attitudes regarding celebrities and brands. Now, we know that this is not a problem that only Seventh-day Adventists have. Now, we know that we have certain attitudes or obsessions or passions, behaviors of religious people towards people who are part of brands or celebrities. For example, Netflix. Now, think about all of these images and think what these images react in you. Now, there is a reaction of necessity or of passion to consume these products or consume the people of the people that we're going to see. Cristiano Ronaldo, right there, he is with his shirt of Madrid. I could have used Juventus, but he is with Real Madrid because I believe that when he played the best, he was in Real Madrid. Now, how many people are obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo and being like him or dressing like him or playing like him? Now, I could not say and keep out Messi if I was going to speak to all the School of Mission from Argentina and all of the fans to Messi fans. How many people really worship his name, Messi's name, and feel like Messi could be their God? Now, what can you tell me about this bitten apple? There are lines, very long lines, when there is a new model of anything, and any new object that Apple gives out, there are lines of people who really want to have the last model of what they have. It's like as if you don't have the latest iPhone, you are not as cool as everybody else. You know that recently Kobe Bryant passed away. And it always caught my attention that even if we never mentioned of being religious, but out of nowhere we have these type of of actions that are really part of this Christian tradition, in which there are flowers and different objects and candles that in the past has been used to do funerals in religious aspects. Now, if you are not drinking Starbucks coffee, it's like as if you were not drinking any coffee at all. Now, you could have any coffee in the world, but if it's not Starbucks, it doesn't count. It gives you a status. The way in which we treat all the brands gives us the label that we're gonna have. It gives. We also find famous people that I'm not 100% sure that sell, but probably sell through their image. And think about it, how many young girls want to look like the Kardashians? And this is the characteristic that helps us live in constant attention and obsession of the production of all of these brands and celebrities and the society that they have constructed. Now, the same thing that God asks for us is that all secular people, regarding brands and celebrities, is absurd. Now, the next point, even though we don't have so much time to talk about it, is something that has always been considered as true, the meta-narratives. Now, in history, from the 18th century, we have always questioned the great stories that have been presented. It's like when you were little and then you started growing up and you started questioning whether the stories that your parents told you were true or not, or if they were exactly lived that way, if they were different, or in some points of life in which you just realized that it wasn't exactly how you thought or how it was presented. Now, let's say that society has believed that, or has wanted to make all these movements different from how history has told them. For example, that the earth is flat. All these historic events, like Jesus was born, or that he wasn't born, or that he wasn't born in Bethlehem, or he didn't do the miracles that he did. It's like all these historical events are now told that you were told the wrong side of the story. Now, let's look at this video. It's about the advertisement of a toy. And this is basically a good example of the meta-narratives. Now, we've always heard the story of the wolf and the three pigs. And the most famous story is in which he blows down the first two houses, but not the last one. Now, here, look at this story. Rebuild the world and turn the story around. Now, secular society, does a great emphasis in this. And you know why? Because all the past history is built over the fundamentals of Christianity. And they need to have new meta-narratives that will shape the new mentality of the social justice. Now, the last thing we will talk about is social justice. Social justice, this social society really rejects Christianism, and they are very sensitive. Now, you are going to know a lot about this movement, which is still active, unfortunately, because due to very unfortunate recent events, Black Lives Matter. But it's like there's a moment in history in which there is a true sensibility towards people that have been in power when everybody realizes that they have abused. Now, also, everybody from the LGBTIQ movement, they are very sensitive. Now, there are so many more movements like this that demonstrate a clear example of the sensibility that is in society, that are every day showing. Now, what is the challenge that we have up front? Well, the biggest advice is to have bridges and not walls. Now, you need to understand that we have a powerful message, a message that needs to be delivered to other people. Now, this message needs to be clearly observed, the way in which we're going to preach it so we can reach so many others. Now, in John 13:35, if you want to look, Jesus says that even knowing the message of the three angels, for preaching health, for doing everything, and even going to church on Sabbath, it's not going to matter. People are only going to see that Jesus is in us if they look at our lives and if they see the true I will go mission and message. Now, God calls me to do the mission. The mission is going to other countries. The mission is even being in my own city. The mission is being in my own university. I need to have bridges to people that don't believe the same thing I do. But how do we do this? Well, let me explain it quickly. The 5 models of Niebuhr. Niebuhr is an author from which you can read his book, and he explains this concept a lot better. And he speaks about 5 models. None of these 5 models are perfect. None of these are totally bad. But let me explain both sides of the story. Now, there is one side that has to do with the reciprocity, that has to do with religion, God, and the culture. How they have connection between. On one side, we have God, and on the other side, we have culture. Maybe the most opposite side of each would be Christ versus culture. Now, what can we say? Is culture bad? Or is music bad? Is everything bad? Is everything that culture produces is bad? And this is what this side controls. It takes it to the extreme and takes it as if everything was bad. Now, the other side presents God and that everything is done thanks to Christ and that culture is due to Christ. And the point right in the middle, the perfect balance is found when you realize that Christ transforms culture, that Christ, when he came to earth, he didn't get comfortable with culture, but neither did he say that everything in culture was bad. He used culture, he introduced himself in culture to transform people, because in the end, whoever makes culture, in the end, are the people. There is no other way of doing it. The culture is the product of the behavior and the actions of all the humans in society, and that is why it's changing so much. Now, let me explain contextualization. Now, you might be saying right now, yes, I want to do the mission. I really want to do it right now. But you need to take this in account. Contextualization. And this would be basically putting yourself in the shoes of the other people to be able to give the message the best way, in the most convenient way possible, so they can understand. I want you to understand that this illustration is not for you to teach try people and act them like as if they were dogs. Now, think of a dog, and when you see a dog, you see them and you love them, and you're like, oh, what a cute puppy. But what if you got to a dog and see them and start saying bad things to the dog, like bad dog or you are ugly. Now, if you think about it, the dog is not going to look. He's not gonna move his tail to what you're saying, but how you're saying. So if you say bad things to the puppy in a bad way, of course he's not gonna be with you. If you tell good things to the puppy in a good way, no matter how the message is, contextualizing is putting ourselves to the same height of the person whom which we want to reach. Now, I want to give you another example. This picture, what does it transmit to you? Does it give you cuteness or make you think of the puppies that we were talking about? Well, if this was a common Vietnamese, this is the menu of the day, even if it sounds pretty harsh. What for you and for me is a pet and an animal that gives you company, for another person in Vietnam, this is food. But let's continue. Because here I expect for you to be vegetarian or know that you could do barbecues of tofu. Now, when you look at this animal, I hope you don't think about food, but let's think about a person from India that looks at a cow. Indians consider cows as sacred animals. Now, do you realize that it's the same animal, the same concept of an animal, but it has a different type of cosmovision from depending on what part of the world you were in. Now, this doesn't mean that the message from the Bible has different meanings, but that certain elements from the message can provoke something different depending on where you are. If you are in a Christian place, if you're in an Adventist place, you need to know how to contextualize this. Now, we're going to see in Peter 2 examples. He was here calmly through Jerusalem, and he starts saying in Acts 2:14, then Peter stood up with the 11, raised his voice, and addressed the crowd. Fellow Jews, and all of those who live in Jerusalem, let me explain to you. Listen carefully, I say. Now, who was he talking to? He was talking to all of the Jews and all of those who had this religion. And the question is, who is Peter? He was a Jew, and he was talking from Jew to Jew, from Israelite to Israelite. And now, Peter, in his discourse, he takes the common elements about creation, which are people. There are people that believe in creation. And he's talking about people. He's talking to people who believe in Abraham and Jacob. And to talk about Jesus, we need to take the elements just like as if it was the Jewish faith. And in the end, in Acts 2:36-37, he says, therefore, let all Israel be assured of this. God has made this Jesus, whom you crucified, both Lord and Messiah. When the people heard this, they were cut to the heart and said, Peter and the other apostles, brothers, what shall we do? Now, when we contextualize, this takes us to a new level, which is Jesus. So the Jews and most of the people who were there, they realized that the speech that Peter was giving was actually what Jesus had promised throughout the Old Testament. Now, this is easy to explain, and this is easy to see and analyze. We need to really get the truth and try to adapt it for people that see life in a different way. Now we're going to go ahead with the next example. We're going to go to Acts 17:22-23, which says, Paul then stood up in the meaning of the of the Areopagus and said, "People of Athens, I see that in every way you are religious. For as I walked around and looked carefully at your objects of worship, I even found an altar with the inscription, 'To an unknown God.' So you're ignorant of the very thing you worship. And this is what I'm going to proclaim to you." Now, do you guys think that the people who they were talking to believed in creation, or that the Israelites, the people that came from Abraham, from Jacob, were really liberated by the God that we all know? Now, Paul knew the type of public that he was facing, and he knew that none of the beliefs that he knew and that he lived were going to work to have a connection with the new public which he was speaking to, which were the Greeks. Now, they were very religious, and he was telling them that all of the things that he did, and he was observing culture, because Paul was very worried about looking around, and that is exactly what we need to do. We need to worry about listening, about looking, about observing society and seeing, to be able to identify what they need, what is their faith, what do they believe in or not, and to be able to have a friendship with them. Now, Paul has that small gap to get the perfect place to build a bridge. Now, I'm not going to do the joke of what would have happened to Paul if he would have been Adventist, because he would have had to choose an element that was from a different religion and talk to the different religion. Now, when you speak to a Christian person that does not live faith just like we do as Adventists, it would be so nice for you to let them know that even if they do it different, we serve the same God and we love the same God, and that God will help them as well as he will help us to see the guide with the Holy Spirit on how to interpret the Bible and how to adapt it. Now, I really hope you understood this message, and to see that the Adventist Church, and don't worry, I'm about to finish. The Adventist Church, as you probably already know, was born in the 19th century. And from there, after the great disappointment there was in 1844, they started to look, to investigate, to learn, and find the message and the heart of what we believe and the different truths that as Adventists we believe. And that is when the Seventh-day Adventist Church was actually founded. Now, when it all began, when the Adventist Church had a concept of themselves and established a mission. They had a clear mission of what they had to do. The Adventist Church is not here to spend some time, to help us have fun. It is here to help us make the mission of God. And this was exactly the mission. Now, Ellen White, Joseph Bates, all of these people, they knew that they had to preach the message, but they knew that the message that they had to preach was around them. And after that, they went out of the United States to be able to preach to so many other people, Protestants, Catholics. They knew that that was their public. And that was the controversial message of salvation. Those people sought faith, a faith that was deep in Jesus, and that was the truth to take them to the feet of Jesus. And that is exactly what we have to do. We have to have faith, and our faith has to be in Jesus, and we need to know the truth. We don't have to talk about creation. We don't have to talk about believing in only one thing. We need to talk about all of the things that affect us nowadays. We need to be part of the community. And the last step was to live with purpose until God came back. Because they had already believed in God since they were born. But what is wrong? We come to the 20th century, the society changes. In the United States and in different parts of the world, in Europe, in South America, and Central America, in Australia, in countries in which Christianity had gotten there, we be able to see that in the 20th century, everything started changing because of so many variety of problems and people and people that are not religious, that they don't believe in anything, or that do, but at the same time are not really close to the church organization, and they're more focused on feeling some type of spirit. Now what we have to do is feel it in an individual and special way. Now what these people are seeking for is finding a way of connecting with other people, finding a way of having something in common with others. And after, what we need to find is the way of talking about how God worked for us, and finally culturalizing ourselves and adapting ourselves and to teach others what the scheme or what the structure of this is. And then we can start with doctrines. Now, in the 19th century, doctrines worked very fine because people were very different, but in the 20th century, they were not working as well. People were not really interested in a religion, in an official religion. They were more interested in feelings and emotions. But then we come to the 21st century. Now, this really makes us feel old to all of us who were born in the 20th century. Now, no matter where we are, this is all over the world. Societies, post-Christian society, post-Muslim, post-everything. People who show the fragmentation that society has lived. People who left behind whatever religion their parents had to be able to find something new. But what is something new? Feeling and purpose in the world. Now, do you remember when I said that secularism gave a lot of emphasis to meta-narratives, to collectives that have given us different stories? Well, these people live looking for a meaning, for a life. And that is why it goes viral each time a person does something solidary, something that came out of their heart without having to record or keeping it with a selfie to show it to the world. No, I'm talking about pure and genuine reactions to others, like a person in New York that took off his boots to give it to a person that was living on the streets. And even though it was so cold, this police did not have a problem with that. And he went to McDonald's and he bought food for him and took his boots off and gave it to the homeless person, because the person didn't have anything and he was barefoot and he was very cold. People today, secular people, are looking for purpose. They're looking for sense in life. After taking the time to being part of a community and trying to find the way to fit in, they try to find purpose. And the last thing is that in last place is the faith in Jesus and the truth about the Bible. And now let me tell you something. How do you feel every time you tell somebody that Jesus is coming back and the person tells you, well, I don't believe in God? How do you feel that when a person you see, you tell them how precious it is to rest on Sabbath, but then the person tells us, no, I don't believe in the Bible, I don't believe in Sabbath? The society has gone away so much from the truth. That is totally different from the 19th century, in which people really lived their Christian faith. Now, we need to learn how to be more like Jesus. Jesus, he said no, he said goodbye to everything that he had, and he came to this earth. He put his feet on earth, literally, and he looked at people and spoke to them with love. And that's exactly what we have to do. We have to understand. We have to look at them. We have to have compassion. We have to do it in community, because even Jesus did it. And when we take them to Jesus, there we will see that people need to see in us that we have to have Jesus' characters. And his character was gaining the confidence of people through speaking with them, through being nice with them. And that is how people found out that he was Christ. And after doing that, he would say, "Follow me." Now, let's take an account. In 1 Corinthians 1:22, it says, Jews demand signs in Greek, look for wisdom. Now, he was very aware of what was going on. Some people said, I need one thing, and then other people say the other. It's like a restaurant. We can't have the same menu for everybody. You need to know how to adapt it and give people what they need. Now, when they start receiving what they need little by little, it's like the metaphor that Paul used. We are like babies, and we have to be nurtured with the food that a baby needs. Now, people have a much lower level of Christianity, of religion, in comparison with you, which have been in church for 10 or 15 years. Maybe their parents have never done the family devotionals every morning. Maybe they never went to Sabbath school. And they need to know that from where they are, no matter where it is, they can start. And that little by little, they will go closer and closer to God to be able to one day be as close as you were. Now, I will leave you with this text. Jesus assumed humanity with the purpose of finding himself with humanity. He put men under the power of transformation of the truth and finding himself with them in the same place in which they were. Now, take this in account. Jesus found himself where they were. Now, youth, think about it. I will go. You have to go. Now, if you can stay wherever you are, that's great. But if you have to go, then go. Mission is behind the door of the university, is behind the door of your house. Mission is waiting for you, and you need to go where people are. And with all the passion in the world, with all that love, take them to the feet of Jesus, so that Jesus and the Holy Spirit can do everything for them. Now, may God bless you. We will be praying for this School of Mission and for all of the program that we'll be carrying out. One day, we will look at each other face to face in heaven when we're with Jesus. Thank you very much.
Muchísimas gracias por compartir.
Thank you very much for sharing this advice and information, which is so important for us. Now, we have a short space in which we are going to answer some questions that you have in the comments. So if you have any comments, you can write in the comments, and right away we will see, thanks to production, if they habilitate us, and we'll have the pastor so he can answer for us. So we were seeing that some of the people were asking us, how do I go to the portal in which I can do the quizzes? What you have to do is go to cursos.uap.edu.ar. And once you're there, you will find small banners in which you will see each quiz with all the languages available, in Spanish, in Portuguese, and whatever language you chose. Once you go there, you will log in, and to do that, you will have to look at the mail that you already received, and after that, you are going to log in and put the password, which is also in the mail that you received, and once you're there, you will be able to do the quiz. And it will appear as a class number 1. Now, all of these lives are recorded, so you are going to be able to see them again if it is needed. And I think that's it. Yes, that's it. Here we have the first question to give to the Pastor Jonathan. In the missionary camp, in the missionary spot, do we have to go and be part of the different religion or show our Christianity? Of course, we have to demonstrate our identity. We can't sell or buy our identity. We can't stop being who we are. But when it comes to establishing a friendship, this is like a love relationship. We can't stop being who we are, but you need to know and understand how to colonize and respect the dignity of the other person. That doesn't mean that we have to stop believing in what we believe and start doing absolutely everything they did. But I believe that we can establish a bridge with other religions and with other people that don't believe in God, which is what I especially do, and find a way in which you find points in common with that person. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Pastor. We have one more question, which says, which is the first characteristic that I have to analyze in a culture before being entering in context? Overall, the most important elements are not trying to screw it. Well, I will tell a small anecdote. I will try to say it as quick as possible because it's very loud. It turns out that I was in Marruecos with several people. It was a place that was very poor. The thing is that since there wasn't any space with everybody from Spain, I was there with the locals, and we went to eat, and I ate so fast that I was so nervous that I started eating with both hands. And when I was eating with them, with the locals, they got so mad because with the left hand you don't eat, and with the right hand you eat. So they got offended. In their country and in some countries, they use the left hand only when you use the bathroom or do whatever, anything else, but not eating. Now, in that case, I really screwed it, but we need to understand and we need to study and we need to see what's sacred, what's important. We need to, for example, in India, cows are sacred. You can't go ahead and crash into a cow and think it's going to be okay. You need to study the most important studies, the things that they fear, the things that they want, the sacred objects, or the rituals that they have. And this is for religions, but this is also for people who are secular. You need to understand their characteristics before going. Thank you so much, Pastor, for being with us in our first class about secular way and how to reach the world of today. Now, thank you so much, Pastor, for the work that you are doing right now. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, and now this is the time to close our first class, and we really hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did. Now, we hope that you took so many notes. Next Friday with us will be the Pastor Jude sharing with us a topic about Buddhism. Okay, now, if you want to see this quiz, you can do it with the QR code that is now on screen or going to the website. Now, we hope that each one of us can go to the calling answering I will go.
Pusiste una misión llevar tu mensaje, anunciar que eres el Salvador.
In un mondo pieno di tanti cuori, cercando conforto e sostegno.
نريد أن نتبع مثلك، نشارك الرحمة والسلام. Yo iré donde quiera que me envíes, con tu poder y en tu nombre voy al mundo a anunciar tu mensaje. Misionero seré para servir, esperanza y amor yo quiero compartir. Donde quiera que me envíes, yo iré. Por tu obra trabajaremos con alegre voluntad.
直到每顆心都看到你的向是彌賽亞。
Unica Nazara nel mare d'oggi, cañarato nel mundo. Pero nosotros queremos seguir, llevar compasión y paz. Yo iré donde quiera que me envíes, con tu poder y en tu nombre voy al mundo a anunciar tu mensaje. Misionero seré para servir, esperanza y amor yo quiero compartir. Donde quiera que me envíes, yo iré.
You're the hope of all the nations, and you are the light.
Quiero siempre compartir el amor de mi buen Jesús. Yo iré donde quiera que me envíes, con tu poder y en tu nombre voy al mundo a anunciar tu mensaje. Misionero seré para servir, esperanza y amor yo quiero compartir. Donde quiera que me envíes, yo iré. Donde quiera que me envíes, yo iré.
We love sharing experiences. Our mission is preparing others to serve. Welcome to School of Mission Online. Your journey begins here.